Hey up YouTube, I'm at a new mark, would you believe it? Would you Adam and Eve it? I've come down to Trunch Lane. Why? Well, I wanted to get out fishing. It's a low tide mark. And you can pretty much fish for anything here. The sea looks brilliant, it looks bassy, which might reduce my chances of a ray, or probably will reduce my chances of a ray. There's lots of troughs for flatties to sit in, although I'm not geared at all for them. Sorry, I'm rushing a little bit because I wanted to do this intro before the sun goes down. Because I'm fishing the night tide, so the video's probably going to be stoppy-starty and all that kind of thing. I'm going to be following the tide in and out, or in actually. So there's going to be lots of moving and things like that. So I'll do my best for you. I promise I'll do my best for you. But as always, welcome to One Man and His Rod. I have not done this before, have I? Where I show my journey in sea fishing, be it good, bad or ugly. I show the lot. I take very little out of my videos, and whether I do well or whether I do horribly, it all goes live, guys. So, and I hate doing this at the start of the video because it feels like I'm asking you to subscribe to something you don't know. But if you are new to the channel, and if you do make it 10, 15, 20 minutes into the video, they are usually quite long. A lot of people do watch them in parts. Please do consider pressing that subscribe button. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. So close. It'd be lovely if... Is that a seal?
Permitted to. Squirrel!
Up on the beach? No, I don't think it is. It'd be so nice if I could hit that mark sooner rather than later, just to get the extra security and support from YouTube and the extra features. It's a very steep beach. Right, I'll roll the credits. You'll see the setup time lapse, and then probably have another chat because I'm still waiting for low water. I'm about 45 minutes away from low water. So I'll see you in a sec.
Hey guys, really quick, just want to say, if you're new to the channel, this video is not my best work. There's video editing, there's camera positioning errors and all sorts in it, so please don't judge it. Please do continue to support me if you're an existing subscriber. Yeah, I'm really paranoid about this one. I say it's really not my best work. It's dark and dingy, and yeah. Anyway, I still hope you enjoy the content. I do try and deliver. It's a little bit different in the way that I'm talking and things like that, so some feedback would be appreciated. Please do continue to support me, and I'll see you in tight lines, and I'll see you next time.
You know what? I'm going to do my setup a bit differently. I'm not going to time lapse it. I'm going to have a chat while I'm doing it, purely and simply because we may not get another chance. So why have I come to Trunch Lane? Well, as you know, I like to check out new marks, or as regular subscribers will know, I very much like to check out new marks. I like to show the community new marks, and I just like to learn new marks. This is a learning channel. This is me learning how to sea fish. A lot of people are very surprised when they find out I actually only started, and I'd never, yes, I'd held a rod before, because I was a course angler, but a lot of people are always surprised to learn, not when they actually see me fishing, but yeah, a lot of people are actually usually quite surprised to learn that prior to sort of, I think that's even, prior to December of 2020, yes, December of 2020, I had never sea fished before in my life. It was a completely new experience for me. I had course fished as a child, but I hadn't done any sea fishing. So this is a learning channel. That's why you'll find, especially if you're new to the channel, if you've just stumbled across this video, because this is a mark that you're considering coming to, I do fish up and down the East Coast as much as I possibly can. Yeah, so I'm new to fishing, I'm still learning, so I do kind of rely on information from others. Now, as a YouTuber, and I'm sure other YouTubers will attest to this, in the comments below, please, guys. Please chime in if this is something you... There's a little bit of friction, shall we say. There's a little bit of pushback against people like myself showing marks and showing how they're fishing and blah, blah, blah. I mean, do I understand why? No, not at all. I'm not going to say, you know, I get why it's there. I don't get why it's there, you know. It's a sport. It's, you know, there's plenty of bloody coastline, isn't there? But it's a sport. And if you don't, as I've said in previous videos, the up and comings, the next generation of fishermen and women, their chosen media, if you will, to learn stuff like this, or to do their research. Not necessarily to learn, but to do their research into whether or not they want to start sea fishing, where they're going to go start sea fishing, even down to tackle and things like that, which is not something I cover too much. I'm going to have a bit of a chat about it in this video if I get chance, purely and simply because I'm getting asked a lot about, you know, what gear to buy when you're first starting, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'll tell you what, we'll start with that question. Now, that question has been asked to me at least 10 times in the last 4 or 5 days. I get a lot of messages asking, how much do I need to start sea fishing? The truth is, not a lot. You could, or you can, start sea fishing with, let's say, a spend of about £100. If you're savvy and if you're willing to take the time to do your homework, to trawl the second-hand boards. I mean, the best advice I can give if you're wanting to start sea fishing on a budget is to buy second-hand and buy from the area that you're going to be fishing in, because you're not going to go far wrong. Say, for example, if you're looking to come fishing the East Coast, you're looking to come fishing Grimsby. If you join the Grimsby fishing Facebook pages and the buy and sell pages and things like that, and the Cleethorpes ones, you're not going to get many people. You are going to get some, but you're not going to get many people that are selling gear for fishing down on Chesil Beach. You know, you're going to get the guys that are selling the gear from fishing this area. You know, and it's always worth, if there's nothing, you know, if you can't see anything, it's always worth putting a post up saying, I'm looking to get into sport. Is anybody selling anything? And whilst they may not tell you where to go fishing, well, they will. If they're in the Facebook groups, they probably will. But they will certainly, and I'm so very, very pleased with the generosity of some fishermen. Some fishermen will join in that conversation and say, yes, message me. I've got some gear you can have for note to get you started. I see that, and I've seen that increasingly a lot in the last few weeks. I've seen that quite a lot in the last few weeks, and truth be told. Especially, you know, if you've got a youngster that's interested in sea fishing or something like that. I see a fair few people putting posts up saying, you know, if you're a young un that wants a rod, I've got some going spare, so on and so forth. You know, you know. So it is worth joining the local Facebook groups. If, like me, you've got a very small amount of cash to splash, the absolute best advice I can give anybody looking to get into the sport that are thinking, you know, I've got a few £100 to spend on some gear, the best advice I can give, and it's what was given to me when I was first starting the sport. The advice I was given was go to the tackle shop. Go to the local tackle shop. Now, in my case, it was go see George at Anglers and Danglers in Grimsby. And I did. And we chatted for a couple of weeks beforehand. And then I got my money and I went down and I told him what I had budget-wise. and he kitted me out to the absolute brim with stuff. You know, I told him I want to make my own rigs, so on and so forth, which, whilst he may have looked at me and gone, that's, you know, that's silly for somebody wanting to just start out, it may have been. But, you know, he didn't try and sway me one way or the other. He heard me out. And a tackle shop, a decent tackle shop owner, will not push you onto one way or one, you know, onto one thing, or will not try and oversell you gear wise, or you know, if they do, walk away, go somewhere else, go see someone nicer. Because they shouldn't, you know. It's sorry, I'm just spending some time setting up my lights so I can pack away my camera box. So that's one of the first. That's probably my most frequently asked question. Is, you know, where do you get your gear from to start fishing? Now, if you're wanting to do it cheap, second-hand gear, join the local Facebook groups to the area in which you're going to be going fishing, and you won't go far wrong. If you're looking to spend a little bit of money, or even a lot of money, maybe you like posh tackle. If such is your desire, still go to your local tackle shop. Support your local businesses. Don't just go straight online and buy or don't go to tackle shop and then see the rods and reel that you like and then walk out and go buy it online. And I'll tell you why. One is, you're not supporting a local business. You're supporting a massive, you know, chain or franchise, or just an online faceless business. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with buying from them if you have to. But the one thing you will benefit from that is worth more than that 20 quid you're saving on your rod and reel is you'll make your first contact. You'll meet your first valuable contact in the fishing world. If you strike up a good rapport with your local tackle shop, man, you know, they'll tell you, they'll give you marks, they'll give you advice, they'll give you locations, they'll give you times, dates, tide information, you know, and you can't buy that. You can't buy that sort of information. So, you know, yes, all right, I grant you, you're saving 50 quid on a reel and 20 quid, you know, you're saving 100 quid overall by going online. But that saving might cost you your enjoyment of the sport. And that you might say, Russ, that sounds a bit harsh. The reason I'm saying that, and the reason why it does sound harsh, I know it does, is if you don't have access to good, correct information, and you spend 200 quid, let's say, on a set of rods, on a rod, a reel, a tripod, a little bit of terminal tackle, and maybe a little box for you to sit on. And then you go out and you blank 5 times in a row. You start to get demoralised and you think, you know what, sod this, sea fishing's not for me. When in every possibility, it could just be you're not in the right location. And that's a mistake you may not have made had you bought local. Had you have made that first contact in your tackle shop. Okay? So that's one of the primary reasons, aside from supporting your local business, that I do say go to your local tackle shop. I know there are fellas, hopefully will chime in my comments, that will say, that can vouch for that you know, discussion that I've just had. Because I know for a fact there are people that watch my videos that have then, I didn't dial this rod in, that have then gone to see George and then have come to see me afterwards and said, Thanks for that. Because like I say, you're going to get invaluable information. You're going to get information you can't buy. And whilst, yeah, all right, if you've bought it online, they're probably still going to be willing to give you the information when you're going in for your bait. But I don't know. I just don't know. I'm all for supporting local if possible. I mean, I've got stuff that I've bought online because at the time of which I needed it, I couldn't get it in a store, in a local tackle shop. And you know, it wasn't for a fact of, if it wasn't for the fact of I needed it then and there, you know, when I needed it. Once again, George, if you're watching this video, George can attest. You know, I've messaged him and said, can you order this for me? Let me know when it's in. You know, I have no qualms doing that, and you know, if I've got the time to wait for the tackle to arrive, then it's an option I'll take 9 out of 10 times. I've done the same with Adam down at Winterton. But one of the reasons I'm a little bit nostalgic and I'm rattling on about local tackle shops is I've actually got my oldest rod, the one that George actually kitted me out with when I first went to go see him, and my newest rod, also from George. And they're the two rods I'm using tonight. So I've got the Synetic Zentech, the Synetic Zentech 450, and the Tidal XR, the Penn Tidal XR 450 as well. And they're the two rods I'm fishing with tonight. Right, I've got some new tip lights. I spoke to Adam down at the shop where I get these from, and he says, I swear you're eating them. I just seem to have a knack for breaking them. And also, the reason why I like new ones is because they show up lovely and bright for you guys. So what shall we do? We'll do the pen on blue. And we'll do the good old Synetic on red. I've not used this Synetic rod in a long time. I say a long time, I haven't been fishing that long, have I? You know what I mean. But it's been a while. I know the only reason being is I took it out the rod quiver, put it up in my storage area, in my shed, and didn't get it back out again. That's the only reason it's not been out in a while. I've had the Fury in my rod quiver and it's just been a case of, I'll take that. But I'm changing things up today, mainly for the reason of I don't know what sort of distance I need on my casting. I'm using two different rigs. I'm going to use a pulley, but not a pulley pennel. It's just a single hook pulley. And that should be a Wessex, that's in the wrong box. And a Wessex rig. And I've got 3 different hook sizes going out. So on the pulley, I've got a 4/0. On the Wessex, I've got a 3/0 and a 2/0. So I am kind of limiting my options today. Yeah, that tide's still going out, which is expected. I am kind of limiting my options today. But that is intentional. I'm fishing the Wessex at medium range and the pulley at long range, which is what the rigs were designed to do. You know, these guys that are smarter than me, or know more about fishing than me, doing it a lot longer than I, that come up with these rigs, You know, they design them for a purpose. The Wessex for long tailing beaches, which is exactly what this one is, to target rays and shy biters, which is exactly what I'm after today. So we'll put that. What have we got here? We've got the pulley. Is this the pulley? This is the pulley. We'll put the pulley on the pen for now. It'll probably get changed up because I have got spare rigs, and I'll probably change the rigs up as the night goes on, as I generally do. I don't know whether that's to my detriment or to my benefit, but I do. Yeah. The Wessex rig. If you would like to see a build video on how to make a Wessex rig, there is one by Fish Locker on the Fish Locker Workshop channel, and also there's a kind of, well, it's not more in depth. In depth is the wrong word. It's more, oh, how to put it? Because Fish Locker John, or John Locker, his video, he covers the wheres, whys and what fors of the rig. Mark's video at Mark Williams Sea Angling, I'll try and remember to put a link to his directly to his video in the corner. His video covers a lot more of the, don't need the rotor clip on this one, a lot more of the ins and outs and the actual construction, whilst John Lock's video at the Fish Locker covers the construction very well. Mark's, I think, does a slightly better job of covering the build. He does something, and I'm not wishing to knock Mark at all here, because I think his videos are brilliant, his content's brilliant. He does something that he claims is sort of his modification to the Wessex rig, which is to put sort of between 5 and 8 centimetres of silicone just to kick out the top hook a little bit. And that is actually something that I saw from a video 5-6 years ago when I was doing some research into the Wessex rig and what it was for. However, on the more recent modern videos, it is something that is omitted or isn't done, so it certainly would seem like it was a new idea. Right, so I'm baited up. Well, I'm not baited up. I am rigged up and I am good to go. The tide's still on the ebb and is for another 20 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off. Shall I fish? No, I'm not going to fish. I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to have a cup of tea. So I'll talk to you in a bit. Hopefully I've not torn your ears off so long. Actually, there's one more thing I'm going to do before I turn the camera off. Just give me 1 minute. There'll be a jump cut or something here. Right, okay, I'm going to go over a few comments here. Gary McNamara, decent effort, Russ. Unfortunately, to reach success, only time and effort will equal success. Next session could be a couple of £5 bass. It's what keeps us going. It complements the music and gives me some music suggestions. Gary, you're very correct. It's very true. Time and effort, you know. Going back to what I was saying about gear, the fish don't care whether they're caught on a £1,000 rod or a £10 rod. As long as there's fish in front of you and you can get that bait to them, they don't give a crap, do they? They just have to be there, and you have to be in the right place at the right time. There was Keith. Glad to hear from you again, Keith Cod over in Doncaster. Whose was it? Brendan. No, I can't find the comment. Richard, thank you for your support as always. There was a couple of guys asking me about this this jacket that I've been wearing recently. It is a Fish Eagle, and it's the jacket from a two-piece flotation suit from 2011. And that's all I know. That's all I know. I bought it second hand off a fella who bought it second hand. So, but it's in good nick, and it really does work a charm. I've not got this on, have I? No. Right, let me just go back to a comment today. David Goodall, bait masking the hook point after cast. In my last video, we had a bit of a rant while I was down on the north wall about why we were getting so many rattles on the rod that just weren't converting into bites. And that is a very good point, David, as is the one that you say is just joking, which is a little less gassing. He's not wrong. And strike on a bite. Now, I'll address striking on a bite, but I think bait masking a hook point is partially correct. That's why I've gone slightly bigger on my hooks this week. But on that particular session, I was fishing worm up the hook, so it shouldn't have been masking the hook really. But striking on a bite, yeah, just quickly address that. Now, it's a controversial subject. It's one that fishermen are very split on. Do you strike on a bite? Don't you strike on a bite? For standard beach casting like this, I tend to say I don't strike on a bite. The reason being is mono, which is what I fish with, or fluorocarbon. There's a lot of flex in there, and if you've got, let's say on a conservative cast, 50 to 80 yards of fluorocarbon out in that sea, I don't honestly believe that striking that rod up like you would if you were coarse fishing, when you've got that kind of line in the sea, is going to make a much difference, if any, because there's that much flex in that type of line. Now, braid, personally, I still wouldn't cast, I still wouldn't strike, but braid is a slightly different story. There's no give in braid, so it's kind of more relevant in that. It also depends on the rigs that you're fishing. Now, one of the rigs, the Wessex rig that I'm fishing today, is a running ledger, so maybe some of that force will transmit into the hook. But if you've just got a 2-hook flapper on, and you've got a weight at the very last thing on your line is your weight, and you're fishing with mono on a 50 to 80 yards cast, you strike, all you're doing is stretching your line, which is what the line is designed to do. You're not damaging anything, but I don't think you're going to set that hook. Anyway, that's just sort of briefly what I wanted to talk about there. I'll call that a day for now. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm not going to do any background filming. I'm not going to cast until the tide has turned. It is still going out. So we've got about another 20 minutes of the ebb of the tide, and then I'm going to fish the flood, which is very different for me. The type of fishing for the rays and things like that, it is said that they come in on the tide. They probably do hang about when the tide's in and things like that, but it's said that they come in on the tide. So that's why I'm here at the bottom of the tide, and I'm going to fish the flood. So guys, that's it. I'm going to stop rattling on. I hope I've answered some regularly asked questions. I know somebody's going to ask me about the tip lights. They are just called Mark IV tip lights. I've ordered some BCCT tip lights, which are supposed to be sort of the next level on those, but they're just called Mark IV tip lights. They show up really well on camera, which is why I love them so much, and it's why I go through so many of them. You can change the batteries in them, but I tend to find that I don't know what's changed. They used to put a glob of silicone or something in them which stopped the contacts rusting and sticking. They don't put that in anymore, and I don't have any. I don't know whether it's petroleum jelly, I don't know whether it's silicone gel. I don't know what it is. So I tend to find that they destruct quite quickly. You could clean them out. It's possibly more that I don't rinse them. So it's probably actually my fault. So yeah, that's the tip lights. I have been asked, and this is going to be more for the YouTube community, I have been asked to do a video by numerous YouTubers on my filming setup. I will get round to doing that. So if you see that up and it's not of interest to you, I'll try and do it. Try and be really, really short. But if you do see that video come up, and obviously it's not of interest to you, don't worry. It's not going to be a regular thing. It's just something that I've been asked about a lot recently. So I will be doing that video in the next week or two. I might get round to doing it tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to have a brew. My baits for today. Keep finding something to talk about. My baits for today are bluey and squid wraps, mackerel and squid wraps, and a combination of both those with razor in some of them as well. So fingers crossed, we'll see a fish or two tonight. I'm on blank number 3, I think, so far. So fingers crossed we'll see a fish tonight. So I'll see you in a bit. Don't forget, like, share and subscribe. Be supportive. Tight lines. I'll see you in a bit. Okay guys, like I say, not much in the way of time lapse today, or at least for the time being. I don't know. Having said that, I might film one just after now. The time is now nearly 2 hours after I arrived at 9:20. I've decided to have a throw out. I think I'm early. I don't think the tide has fully turned yet. The problem I seem to have been having recently, and it seems to be the same no matter what your source is, the problem I'm having at the moment is no matter where you look, you're getting different tide times reported. So you look on MSF and it says, I don't know, for example, 9:15. You look on tidetime.org and it says 8:34. It's crazy, but I suppose it depends. Your source depends on. Has that gone slack? I don't think it has. No, but it has drifted. Just to be expected. Yeah, I'm going to have to switch up to heavier leads when I next reel in. But I say I've just sent some bait out, really, in actual fact, primarily, to see what the tow is actually like, to see how much movement there is in the water. There is quite a bit in the water, but we're at, if not the bottom, very close to the bottom of the tide. So, you know, you expect it to be a bit violent, don't you? A bit pushy. So I will be switching up to some heavier leads. I'll go up and get them in a minute. But I say I just wanted to get some bait in the water. I've been sat there for sort of 45 minutes to an hour deciding whether or not to send a bait out, deciding whether or not, you know, what was actually the low tide time, blah, blah, blah. With it being a Sunday, with the tide being so late, and with this being so far out in the sticks, that the beach is vacant. You know, there's only me here, which is completely what I would expect. Whether this location was fishing its tits off or not, given the tide time and the tides and its location, I would expect this to be a very quiet mark tonight. So it is a bit spooky. It is a bit spooky doing an entirely new mark that I've never fished before on my own. Those of you that are regular viewers will know that in actual fact it's been a long time since I've actually fished, or at least video-wise, since I fished on my own. I normally have, you know, there's normally Alf or other YouTubers, but this trip, I appreciate we're quite a bit into the video here, but this trip was very much I'm not going, I am going, I'm not going, I am going, I'm not going, I am going. And then it got to about 4 o'clock and I was stone dead bored. I'd decided by that point that I was staying in. I didn't feel too well. I thought I was having another IBS flare up, turns out I wasn't. But I didn't feel too good, and you know, the kids had said, "Oh, stay at home and spend some time with us." You know, completely forgetting that I'd spent the entire previous day sat at home, and well, not sat at home, but I'm kind of ignoring the action. I don't know if it was showing up on camera. The blue rod is showing something. There is a little bit of noise on the blue rod, but I'm kind of ignoring it. That's the one that's out at a bit of range on a pulley, sorry. So of course it's in slightly wilder water. My intention is really to put these baits out and leave them out until at least the tide's turned. Like I say, it's just a test cast really. So the blue has got the pennel on it, the pulley, not the pennel. Pennel. When you're talking pulley pennel rigs, this has turned into a little bit of knowledge giving this video, hasn't it? When you're talking pennel rigs, pennel means 2 hooks on the same hook length. So what I've got on that is a pulley rig, which is normally fished as a pennel, but the research that I had done suggested that shy biters like rays, smoothhounds, things like that, can sometimes feel the back hook. They can bite over the first hook and feel the back hook. So then they'll just release. They'll just spit the bait. So I opted for a single hook, single size 4 mustard specimen extra, size 4.0 specimen extra. I would guess by the fact that the tide swell has calmed down that we're now reaching the bottom of the tide. Yeah, a pulley pennel has 2 hooks on the same hook length. A pulley is just the same rig with a single hook. On the other rig is a Wessex with a 3.0 on the bottom and a 2.0 above. So it's basically a 2.0 flapper sitting above a size 3.0 that's flat to the bottom on a running ledger. The research that I've done, the homework that I've done over the last week or two suggests that those are the best 2 rigs for rays. And the reason I've not just gone with 2 pennels or 2 pulleys, I'm going to keep doing that and it's going to annoy me, 2 pulley rigs, is because what a Wessex does is it puts one up in the water. So you can target more species. Although I'm using the same baits across the board, I can target something on the bottom and then something on this particular rig about 3 foot above it, 3 to 4 feet above it, in the water. So as we work our way back up the beach, this is a very steep beach. As we work our way back up the beach, that rise, that second hook being higher will play a more crucial role. Yeah, I would definitely say we're probably hitting slack water. Oh, shooting star. I'm seeing a lot of those recently. It's just a shame they don't show up on camera. It'd have to be a lot brighter to show up on camera, I suppose. Oh, now, that's not the lead bouncing. Tell you what, let's follow Dave's advice, let's strike into it, let's have a look at it. It's easy enough to recast. Let's have a look. Well, it feels heavy, but then I don't know the beach, so I don't know how well the lead will have bedded into the sand, etc. Definitely heavy, so if it's weed or not, I don't know just yet. I think whatever it was has come off. It's just gone light. Oh no, it's still heavy. It's not as heavy as it was though. We've got it in. Have we got a ball of weed? No, we've got a plastic bag. That's why this one was drifting so quickly. got a ball of weed in a plastic bag. So I'll take this off. I'll put it in my pocket. We'll recast. So I'm not going to change the bait. The bait's only been out a few minutes. But with that acting as a sail, I now understand why it was bucking it like it was. Use this little stream, clean the tip of the weight off a little bit. There, like I say, a plastic bag. Initially, I thought it was a rubber. Oh, that's made a real mess of my rig. Oh no, it hasn't. It's come off all right. But if that was on my line for any length of time, that will have been acting as a real sail. So that would explain why it was bucking it down the beach. But I shan't put this back in the sea or back on the sand. I shall put it up with my tackle. But for the moment, I'll just hook it on my tripod. So shan't put that back in the sea. And I'm just going to resend it. The bait's still fresh. It's not chewed. So it's just been bouncing along. I would definitely say we're at the bottom of the tide now. The swell has calmed down dramatically. I tell you what, it makes a lovely change not to be fishing in gale winds. Nothing against gale, but you know, sometimes you just don't want it blowing, do you? Trying to make that sound dirty and I'm struggling to make a pun out of it. Oh, got me hopes up then, guys. I will admit, I don't know, it definitely felt like there was something on, but like I say, if the plastic bag was flapping, then it would have felt like there was something on. But bang it back out. Yeah, it's holding a lot better this time. I do expect to see some tide noise on these rigs for a little while, just because now, sort of in the last 10-20 minutes while we've been talking, the tide has gone out about 10 feet, but I think it's definitely on the turn. At least I hope it's on the turn, because I don't really fancy being here till 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, they're both holding a lot better now. So fingers crossed. I know what I said earlier about time lapses. I am going to flick you onto time lapse. I'm just going to make sure you can see everything okay first. So I'll talk to you in a bit, guys. Well, so far all's quiet. Getting a little bit of weed, but it's not too bad. A lot of tide noise on the rods. I don't know if it'll be showing up on the time lapse. We're getting a lot of wave noise, which is to be expected when you're fishing on the up. When you're fishing on the flood, it's to be expected. Yeah, at the moment, absolutely nothing. Bait's not getting touched. I've definitely not. I say definitely not. I would say I've not missed any bites. There has been a few twitches on the rod that have looked a little bit bitey. But then when I've reeled them in, there's been a big clump of weed on. I do keep meaning to change the leads, because I'm finding that at the moment that some weed is attached onto the line, it's getting dragged across. So clearly the leads are just hanging in there with the weights I've got on. So I'm probably going to have to change some bigger leads. I've probably got about 5 minutes and then I'm going to get pushed back. I was hoping to hold out on changing my weight, changing me baits until I got pushed back, because I'm actually rattling through bait a lot quicker than I expected. I brought probably about 30 wraps, which for most cases actually would do more than one session, but for some reason I seem to be rattling through them, unless there wasn't as many as I thought there was in the bag, which is distinctly possible. But hey ho, you know, if you run out of bait, you run out of bait. It's a rookie error, isn't it? But at least you're not wasting. So not wasting. Well, at least you're not throwing it away, are you? If you run out. Just had a chat with the missus for nearly half an hour. It's weird. It's weird because it's been so long since I've been out solo. It's weird being out on my own. It really is. But we persevere. Let me just check. Is that? That one's gone out. That's why I can't see the line anymore. Yeah, they're both bouncing. The leads are bouncing. I think what I'll do is when I move back, I think I'll bring them in and change the leads. Maybe change the baits, but I shouldn't need to. But yeah, definitely struggling to hold bottom now. Now that we're definitely on the flood of the tide, they're definitely struggling to hold bottom. Which, when you're chasing a bottom feeder, I don't think, you know, you've got two options. You either do have a scratching rig that bounces along the bottom, which is great for inquisitive bottom feeders like flounders, dabs, plaice, things like that. But I don't know if it's any good for rays. I don't know. Your more experienced fishermen will hopefully be able to tell me in the comments below. But I think you need a stationary, or more stationary bait. But yeah, all this bouncing that you may be able to see on the video is purely coming from just the leads bouncing. I'm definitely paddling in a bit more water than I was earlier. So yeah, I think it's almost time to pick up and move. It's still not that cold actually. I'm pleasantly surprised with the temperature. I thought it would be colder than this because there's very little in the way of cloud cover and there's next to no moon tonight. In fact, I can't even see the moon. I don't know where it is. Actually, it could be behind me. There's a fair bit of elevation behind me that I can't see over. See, I'm saying that the leads are bouncing, but then have you turned off again? Yeah. That's fully charged as well. Oh no, it's not. I forgot to charge it. That's why. Bugger and bum. I forgot to charge it. No, they're holding at the moment. They're not travelling like I thought they were. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the last time lapse, because I'm going to give you another one in a minute. Seems to be all I'm saying in this video, but if you have made it this far into the video, please do consider subscribing. It really does help me out. There is other YouTubers of notable mention in the description below the video. There is Levo's Fishing Adventures. There is Holderness Cod Father, and there is the Hardcore Fisherman. Levo does a fair bit of travelling. Shane and Hardcore tend to pretty much stay on the North Bank, or the North Shore, the other side of the Humber to me. I'm yet to find, other than Vern, I'm yet to find another, or many other YouTubers. There is Bogue UK, they're just starting up. I would appreciate it if you could go and show them some love. That's BOAG UK. I really would appreciate if you go and show them some love. They are just starting out, and they fish south of me, so they fish more Hut off Car Terrace, Sutton-on-Sea, here, Mablethorpe, Skegness, and they do a bit of off-roading and a few other things, so they're sort of an all-round outdoorsy channel. Oh, and they do coarse fishing as well. Or they plan to do coarse fishing. I know Simon does coarse fish. I don't know if he's got any videos of it on yet, but I know he does plan to do it. But yeah, not a great deal going on, guys. I was hoping for good things tonight. I really was hoping for good things tonight. Based on the catch reports that have come out of here for the last few days, I was hoping for big things. But, you know, as per usual, I've probably missed the boat, so to speak. In fact, I don't think I'm going to bore you with another time lapse. Well, that was definitely both leads bouncing then, wasn't it? They both popped at the same time, and they're at different ranges. Although the breakers are quite far out. Right, yeah, the sea's about to crest over this little mound that I'm on the back of. So guys, I'm going to shut off the camera and I'm going to get moved. I'll speak to you in a bit. Now then, what we're filming there. Press the wrong button. I think we're filming normal footage. Yeah, we are filming normal footage, that's what I want. Right guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not in the habit of doing that. It's coming up to midnight. I was just about to consider filming an outro and going home. Because, I mean, and I'll explain my reasons why. I've seen absolutely zero indication that there's any fish out there tonight. Until just now. So, the Pennell rig, the blue rod, that bait was mauled, but I kept reshooting it because I'm still waiting for the tide. Really, it's still not quite where I want it to be. For me to be happy that I fished it well enough or long enough. The tide is now. If I'd have had more time, the tide is now where I would have started fishing. So all the fishing up to now, really, I wouldn't have bothered doing had I have got my timings right. Although I'm saying me, oh crap, this is really washing in quite quick now. I feel as though I'm doing myself a bit of a disservice there. It was highlighted when I met all the other lads at Easington last week that when we're checking his apps and we're checking the websites and things like that for tide times, we all arrived at Easington saying, oh well, tide's at such and such a time, and not one of us was saying the same tide times as the next person. So I did the research I did said that low tide here was at around about 8:30. No. Yes, around about 8:30. Then I spoke to a fella on the phone who says, nah, it's 10 o'clock. No, I thought it was 10 o'clock, and he went, no, it's 8 o'clock. So I looked it up again, and on 3 or 4 different, I went across about 3 or 4 different sites, and every single one of them said a different time, ranging from 8:30 to around about 10:30. So I edged my bets and thought, I hope it's the earlier of the few. Turns out it wasn't. Crap, this is really racing. The tide hasn't moved for ages, and now it's got over the little bump that I was fishing on. It's zooming now. It's flying in. Is that tide noise, or is that... That's not tide noise, is it? Is it? Can't tell. I think it is. So that one's just gone, so that one should then go. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, my timings are way off, basically, tonight. So I was about ready to call it a night. So I pulled in the pennel rig, and the bait was, well, it was mauled, but that could have just been it getting battered around out there. So I changed it, reshot it. I've just put some heavier leads on as well. I'm going to have to move. And then I brought in the other rod, the Wessex rig, and those baits were 2/3 eaten. Not feathered, you know, it wasn't crabs, or it didn't have the indications of being crabs. Maybe small fish, which, I mean, if the bait fish have followed the tide in, then in theory so should the predator fish. So I'm going to stick it out a bit longer. So we're just coming up to midnight. In fact, we are midnight now. I'm going to give it another hour. I'm going to give it another 3 chucks of rod. I think. Well, no, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I don't know how many baits are left in the bag of baits that I've got opened and defrosted, but I'm going to give it at least until they've finished, and I will be giving the baits probably a little bit longer in the water than perhaps I should, because that last reel in has given me a bit of hope that perhaps there is something out there, or perhaps at least the smaller fish are making their way in. Which hopefully in turn means that the bigger fish are not too far behind. So hopefully there's some fresh scent in the water. Oh, if that blue rod is tide noise. Because that second knock there was out of sequence with the waves. It's just not firm enough. It's just not firm enough. Anyway, I'm going to shut up gassing. And I'm going to, not that I need to prepare anything to move, I've only the 2 tripods down here. But I'm going to prepare to move again, because now it's motoring now, which is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this tide to really start to move. So fingers crossed, the back end of this session, hopefully, we'll see some action, because it's been very slow to now. Like I say, I was ready to call it a night. I genuinely was. I've seen 2 shooting stars, which was really cool. Well, not 2 shooting stars, 2 meteorites coming down into the sea. I mean, it looked like it was not too far from me, but you know, it could have been half a mile offshore. Thinking back to my old training days, they told us that you could see a fag being lit from 2.5 miles away. So you know, a little meteorite streaking through a very dark sky would look a lot closer than it is. But I swear there was one night, Blaine, Kurt and I were fishing on the Humber Wall, doing a very late night session, and I swear we heard one. We saw one come down, and I swear we heard it hit the water. Because the sea was like a mill pond that night. But yeah, like I say, the sea has just got to the point now where now is when I would have started fishing, really. But I mean, it happens, doesn't it? It's my first time at a brand new mark, and I'm not with somebody who knows the mark, so you know, it's a learning experience. And these marks, I mean, they're all year round marks, so you know, once you've been to them once, you know where they are. You've got the little you've got the coordinates mapped down. You've got what you've tried. You know it. You're a little bit wiser then, aren't you? You know how the tide works. You know how the sea works, and how the beach is. So this definitely is a mark I will be back to in summer. Still trying to find a mark for the, yeah, that's coming mighty close now. Still trying to find a mark for the YouTuber get together summer bashy thing. If you know of a particularly good mark on the East Coast where we should be able to meet up, where we will be out of everybody else's way, but we're obviously still fishers, I'm going to have a look at this. It's doing me head in. We can always reshoot it. This is a Pennell rig. No, the lead wasn't in the water, or the lead wasn't bedded. That's just coming straight in. Oh God, it's coming in faster than I can reel. Maybe, who knows? Not me, not tonight. Nah, there's nothing on it. There's no weight to it at all. If I didn't know better, I'd say I'd lost my lead actually. It's that light. Have I walked too far down? Am I about to get wet feet? Yes. Yes, I am with these waves. Well, the lead's in. Oh, bait's gone. Ah, promising. Bait's gone. Now that's a promising sign. Isn't that just a promising sign? All that's left is a little bit of squid. So, what to do? Normally I wouldn't race to get something back out, but I'm kind of going to have to with how fast the sea's coming. So give me a minute, guys. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I need to get a move on. That sea's racing in now. It could be that the elastic came undone. I didn't put extra whipping on it, and I have on all the others. And I purposely didn't whip these that much when making them. Dee 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 dee. Just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to put some extra whipping on this one because I didn't put extra whipping on these baits that I've just resent. And I didn't, when I made these baits, I purposely sort of didn't put that much elastic on them with the intention of putting extra whipping on prior to sending. So we'll put some extra on there. See, it's weird that that one was going and the red rod is dead still. So we'll get this back out with some fresh bait on and hope that it wasn't just the elastic that gave up. Let's get this reshot. There's hope. There's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. At least I won't have to walk far to cast it. Oh. Tell you one thing I've not done for a while, that's go home with dry feet. Let's see if I can at least manage that tonight. And my casting is definitely not up to par tonight. I'm not hitting any sort of range. I always seem to struggle in the dark. Don't know why. Right, we're back out. I'm going to stop me waffling, otherwise this video is going to be 3 hours of me just waffling on with zero fish so far. So I'll pop you back on time lapse, some nice chill out music. As per usual, like, share, subscribe. If nothing happens, I'll see you in a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately we've reached that last chance o'clock. It's midnight and I think the crabs are making an appearance. I just brought in the Wessex rig on the red rod. I literally just brought it in and it was near as damn it stripped. And it had signs of it being crab or shrimp or, you know, something like that was feathering the bait off the hook. The soft stuff had gone or was stripped to bone, and the squid was starting to show a little bit of, how would you put it, shredding. So I've one big bait left for the pennel. So what I'll do is I'll give them another 5-10 minutes. I then will change the bait on the pennel, and then I'll bring the Wessex in. So I'm going to put you back on time lapse, but unless something happens, when the red rod comes in, I'll record my outro, because then I can start packing down, because I don't want it to take forever to pack down and get back to the car, because it's late and it's a school night and I have to get up for the school run. Luckily I'm not at work tomorrow, but I don't like wasting a day. Even if I am tired, I don't like spending it in bed. I like to get things done. So, but I don't know if it's coming through on the microphone, but unfortunately I can't see that far out, but the sea has got pretty wild in the last sort of half hour to an hour. The swell is a lot bigger, probably too big for rays. It's probably too big for rays. The rays are probably still sat out at sea or out in deeper water. As far as my limited understanding of it is, and I did come to target rays, but my limited understanding of it is you want it kind of calmer for rays. This would stereotypically be good bass weather. I am rigged for bass. It's very possible I'm shooting over the bass, although I shouldn't be with the Wessex rig. That should be about right. But it is what it is. I reckon I'm about 2 hours away from high tide. I'll be honest, I think I'm about 2 hours away from high tide. But with my cock up on my timings, and as much as I don't think it was entirely my fault, I will take the hit on that. But with my cock up on the timings and things like that, I'm running out of bait, and I'm loathed, as tired and as cold as I am. I'm loath to open up. I've got, in my icebox, I've still got some frozen mackerel and bluey and squid wraps, and I'm loath to defrost them and use them. If I'd have seen definite signs of fish by now, that would be an entirely different story. But especially as it's now looking as though the crustaceans are moving in, you know, especially as that seems to be the case, I am loath to open a fresh packet of bait. And I've just noticed the blue rod, mind you, actually I did walk quite far over to cast it out. I was just about to say, I've just noticed it was quite far over to the right, but I did actually walk quite far to the right to cast it out, because I got sick earlier on of going over my own line. I think I did it 2 or 3 times. But I'd say I don't know. I've got firm tips on both rods, and I don't know if it'll be showing up on camera just how much they are twitching just with the tide, with the waves. My line is as high up out of the water as I can get it. You know, I'm a good metre to 2 metres above the water, and I'm still getting that much wave noise on the line that it's difficult to see what's going on. The heavier leads are holding bottom, but yeah, unfortunately, no matter which way I spin it, I can't convince myself to stay any later. I'm going to get pushed back again. I'm reluctant to do another move because I'm lazy. But it's surprising actually. I think I mentioned earlier. Oh, now then, that was something different. Oh, let's see if that was something or nothing. Oh, that's heavy. No. Ah, bugger. No, it's light as a feather now. Hopefully the bait's in good enough nick to be able to reshoot it. But I'm glad I caught that on camera. I'll be able to review that footage, see whether or not that was tide noise or whether it could have been a bite. But it's, yeah. Am I in? Yeah, I'm in. And yeah, nothing. I could say the bait might have had a knock. I can't really tell. I can't really tell, but it's in good enough condition to reshoot. I know you can't see me, guys, and I do apologise, but it's difficult conditions to film when you're solo. I have to dip that in the water and not be able to reset that lead. The only problem with these breakaway leads, no, the Gemini leads, is they gunk up with sand. Sometimes making it a little difficult to reset the lead. It's all well and good if you can, if you remember to bring your bucket out the boot and fill it with water, but I don't think I've ever remembered to bring my bucket up out the car. But the bait's in good enough nick to be reshot, so we'll get it reshot, hopefully without getting wet. Oh, that was a better cast. That was possibly the best cast of the night, that one. I bet I've hit that so hard, I bet it's shot the bait down over the hook. But that was possibly the best cast of the night, that one. I seem to do better, although I'm just overhead thumping. I seem to do better when I swing it round from the side slightly. It keeps my arc lower and I'm losing less in height, which means I'm gaining more in distance. Oh, I'm gutted I could have missed something there. So I'm glad I'm able to review the footage on that, because I glanced up at that and it certainly looked very bitey to me. So, guys, I'm going to pop you back on time lapse and I'll speak to you in a bit. just taking you off time lapse because I just want to watch the red rod with you for 2 minutes. I've had what I believe to be a couple of good knocks on it, but I also think even a 7-ounce lead is struggling to hold bottom. The sea is that powerful out there now that the 7s are struggling to hold bottom. But I think I've had a mixture of knocks and wave noise. But as I said before I started that last time lapse, see, look, that was a pretty short, sharp tug. But yeah, as I said, this rod's going to be the first one to be packed down because I don't have another bait for it. So I'll tell you what, let's have a look at it. Oh, by the feel of that, it was just the lead bouncing. Yeah, there was no sort of pull to get the lead to release. It's just coming straight in. And like I said, this is actually the heavier of the two rigs. This has got the heavier lead on it. So if this one isn't holding bottom, God knows what's actually going on with the other one. Yeah, it's just coming straight in. There's nothing on it. That's the shock leader, so where's the lead? Oh, there you are. Give this a rinse off. We'll get this one packed down. Oh, I've got some cloud cover now. It's warmed up a little bit. But I'm going to go get me, shall I? Yeah, what I'll do is I'll clean it up while I'm down here. And I'll just say to you guys, I apologise I'm not in front of the camera talking to you, but yeah, I just want to get this done now. I appreciate and thank you to those of you that help this channel succeed, that help it grow. It's always massively appreciated. Those of you that share the videos for me, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot to me. But yeah, as always guys, this is true fishing. This is the way it goes. It's called fishing, not catching. And it's another blank from me today so far, unless something changes on the other rig. Because that's got another 20-30 minutes with a fresh bait on it. Although with this sea getting as wild as it is, I just don't know. I might reel it in and the bait might be absolutely destroyed on it. Oh, you know what, you can go in the box like that. So I'm going to go get the other bait. I'm going to go get the last bait. We'll get that one brought in. We'll get it changed. And then I'll film a proper outro. So I'll see you in a minute. Is that in my pocket? Yes. It's come out. There's no need to litter. There's bins here. Right, let's get this one brought in. Yeah, as with the other, it's so light, I didn't have to pull the lead to release it, it's just coming straight in. So, yeah, it's definitely an end to the night. Where's my lead? There we are. Yeah, look, I mean, the bait's wrapped up around the line. It's that wild out there now. But I have a bait left. I have other things to pack down. I'll send it. And then I'll talk to you guys properly. Oh, that's a real mess. I was never going to hook anything on you. What on earth? Once again though, all the soft components that were in that bit have gone and there's just squid left. So like I said, just makes me wonder what's out there, what's going on out there. It's not acting like there's nothing out there, but it's not acting like fish. Like I say, I think the crabs are making their presence known tonight, which is just my luck. That was definitely a shallow cast, but hey ho. Last one of the night. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me point the camera down and I'll have a proper chat before I pack it away. Oh. Right guys, so this has been my first foray into Trunch Lane. As I mentioned earlier in the video, am I downhearted that I blanked? Yeah, a little. But it's my first time at a brand new mark. I got the times way wrong on the tide times. I said, I don't know, I need to find a more reliable source. Even the app that I normally use, MSF, seems to be offline. Magic Seaweed wasn't even recognising this as a mark. So I had to go off websites, and like I say, I checked 4 or 5 different websites. Every single one of them gave me a different tide time, varying quite wildly. It wasn't within 10 minutes of each other. There was hours difference. So I did the best I could with the information I had at hand. So I'm on last cast. I've got my last bait out. It is coming up to 1 a.m. In fact, it is 1 a.m. So I'm going to pack the camera away. If anything does come in of this last cast, I'll insert a picture somewhere on the screen now. If not, guys, as always, stay safe, tight lines. Please like, share and subscribe. I really do appreciate those of you that help the channel sharing the video. So if you would like to do that for me, it really does help. There's a little share button down below the video. You share it to your Facebook, to your Twitter, to your socials, whatever it is you use. That's it from me, guys. I'm downhearted, but I'm not peed off. It's been a lovely night. It's not been overly cold. It's a new mark. I've learnt a new location. I've learnt a lot about how this beach works. So, a lot of valuable takeaway from tonight. Tight lines, stay safe.